Andrealphus was a character who first appeared in the storyboard trailer for Season 2. In the trailer, many fans, myself included, believed it to be Epos, an Ars Goetia demon, a prince like Stolas, who can see the future and is described as goose-like. We later, however, got concept art for the character with their name revealed to be Andrealphus, a marquis in the Ars Goetia described as being a peacock, and was revealed to be Stolas' brother-in-law. For those who didn't see this, Stella brings him up at the end of Season 2, Episode 1 as a sort of threat against Stolas, with the intent being that we will see him expanded upon in a future episode. Today, we're going to break down everything we know about him so far, where he fits in the Ars Goetia, why Stella would bring him up as a threat, and more interestingly, whether or not he would betray Stella. Now, this is the final part in a 3-part series on the Ars Goetia and what's going on with Stola, so I'll put a link to the first 2 videos in the description down below, but here's what you need to know for this video. The Ars Goetia are a form of nobility that seem to help rule Hell beneath the 7 princes of the 7 rings of Hell. The Ars Goetia also seem to be largely focused on Earth and perhaps conquering it alongside Lucifer. Paimon, Stolas, Asmodeus, and even Andrealphus are inspired by 4 of the 72 demons in the real-life Lesser Key of Solomon, whereas Stella, Octavia, and other family members are unique to the show and expand upon the lives of the demons. Stella and Andrealphus are siblings, but look very different because they are peacock-based demons. Male peacocks are known for their vibrant green and blue colors to attract females, but the females themselves are generally just off-white and plain-looking. Stolas as a prince is outranked by kings like Paimon and Asmodeus, as well as dukes, though no dukes have appeared in the show so far. Stella's brother Andrealphus is a marquis, which is roughly in the middle of the Ars Goetia, making him important, but not as important as Stolas. It raises the question of why Stella would bring him up as a threat. In the conversation, Andrealphus and Stella are depicted as being close, and kind of a bit of a team against the harsh life that is the Goetia royalty. I imagine he is quick to defend his sister, and like her, is more or less just waiting for opportunities to attack people. As a marquis, why would he be such a threat to a prince like Stolas, though? The first theory I saw floating around was that Andrealphus may be in charge of the angelic weapons market, and or have his hand in the assassinations market, which would greatly require them. While Stella is rich enough that she could probably just buy a few angelic weapons to give to Stryker as payment, she may have needed to go through a connection like her brother, as Moxie indicates that it's pretty hard to get your hands on in Episode 5. Other theories include him just being in good standing with other members of the Ars Goetia, and thus being capable of gossiping Stolas into oblivion among his own ranks. Stolas already had quite the scandal sleeping with an imp like Blitz, and even divorcing Stella after all of this seems to be something that could have dire consequences for him socially, despite Stolas seeming confident that he will survive it all. With more rumors coming from Stella, Andrealphus could sabotage Stolas and perhaps even get him in trouble with his father Paimon. As a marquis and Stella's brother, Andrealphus is likely the child of one of the kings or dukes in the Ars Goetia as well. While he may not outrank Stolas, he may be in much better standing with his own parents than Stolas. Stolas and Stella's marriage is arranged, so their parents may themselves be on pretty great terms, and Paimon could be very embarrassed by what Stolas has been doing with imps, and beyond that, how Stolas may have been falling behind with his other goetic duties. In my previous video, I explained that both Stolas and Andrealphus are said to both be skilled in astronomy according to the real-life writings of the Ars Goetia. This inspired Stolas' role in the show, involving rituals around Earth's stars. Andrealphus likely has quite a similar talent for astronomy, but with a lower rank than Stolas, and less important things to decipher in the stars. Stolas in particular as a prince was learning about all the prophecies that seem to involve the final battles between Hell and Heaven based on his song in Episode 2. When examining the grimoire in the 1-year flashback, he seemed entirely frustrated with the constellations and put the book back almost immediately. This is a pattern that has probably persisted for some time, as his frustration indicates. Andrealphus, meanwhile, may have less important duties in the Ars Goetia, but may be making better progress with them than Stolas. In addition to Stolas' scandal of sleeping with an imp, and now trying to divorce Stella, Stolas could be falling out of favor with the other goetic demons, who might be happy to promote Andrealphus to Stolas' position if it was not something that he had unfortunately inherited. If something were to happen to Stolas, however, then Andrealphus could be seen as a reasonable demon to promote to Stolas' duties, and take over things like the full moon ritual that Stolas is required for when not doing his interpretations of prophecies. If Stella is able to get her hands on angelic weapons and an assassin like Stryker, I don't imagine it would be out of reach for Andrealphus, especially if the theories are true and he has his hands involved in those markets. Over time, there could be so many assassins on the lookout for Stolas that he could never be safe in any ring of hell, even with Blitz and the others guarding him. While Stolas has proven that he can handle any old assassin who comes at him with a regular weapon, he'd have a hard time stopping more killers like Stryker coming after him everywhere he goes or anywhere he tries to hide. The problem with this theory is that Octavia is the precautionary heir, as Paimon put so plainly, meant to take over the throne if anything were to happen to Stolas. I had theorized previously that this would not be a permanent installment, as Stolas may perhaps be reborn again and raised to take over the role, but that's just a theory from one of my earlier videos. For now, Octavia does not have the experience to take over the throne, and thus Andrealphus could take over temporarily if something bad were to happen to Stolas. That being said, he may see Octavia as a threat to his power either way, someone who would just take over his role in some time when she aged into the position. As such, his best option becomes hiring an assassin to take out Octavia too. Now, it's been indicated that Andrealphus and Stella are close, and it can be hard to imagine him wanting to assassinate his own niece, but after seeing how undeniably evil Stella is, I don't think it's out of the question for him to be even more so. Stella may get a backstory where we learn the nuance for her trauma, but until then, she is what she says, someone who just loves to torment Stolas. Stolas knows this so well that he believes she wasn't even hurt by his sleeping with an imp, and instead is just using it as another reason to attack him. This would mean that her having him assassinated may even be something she started working on before learning about Stolas' infidelity, and instead may have been thinking about it for some time. This may have just been the event that made her pull the trigger, so to speak, and hire Stryker. Stryker himself is less interested in getting paid, it seems, and instead wanted the access to angelic weapons he could get. While Stella was the one to pay him for the job, he indicates to Blitz that his goals are way bigger than just Stolas, and killing him is just a bonus in addition to getting the guns that he says he wants to use on more demon royalty. There is no reason he would find it wrong to go after Octavia, she's just another Goetic demon, and if not him, Andrealphus may have access to any number of assassins and other crime doers in his ranks that could get the job done as well. This would be a huge betrayal to Stella, and perhaps one that knocks some sense into her over all the crazy problems she is causing by trying to have the father of her own daughter assassinated. Stolas of course would not allow for this, but it could unravel its own can of worms revolving around the prophecy discussed in earlier videos surrounding Octavia's birth, perhaps leading into an apocalyptic event of sorts written in the prophecies of Earth stars. Stolas would never allow something to happen to Octavia, but he indicates in his song that whatever happens to Octavia, she will be okay, even if hell itself falls apart. So if it came to sacrificing himself to make sure Octavia would be okay, that wouldn't surprise me. But if you want more details on that theory, check out the pinned comment for yesterday's video where I describe what might happen involving Octavia. See you guys next time.